Hi guys, and welcome to the vlog where I'll be reading for 13 hours, 13 minutes and 13 seconds because 13 is Taylor Swift's lucky number, and yesterday she announced that she got engaged. So what better way to celebrate than to do it together with you guys or whatever, doing my favorite thing in the world along with her lucky number. And so let's just directly get into what's probably going to be a really fun vlog. So now for context, I'm not the biggest Swiftie in comparison to so many others that I've seen out there, but as someone who's been following her music career over the years, it's finally, I feel like, refreshing to actually see her get what she's written about, what she's been longing and yearning for over the past few years at this point. And it feels like a surreal moment. It's like watching a friend having their dreams come true. I feel like there's this tweet I saw reposted to my Insta feed that I'll have on screen that perfectly describes what I'm feeling. And so since she announced it in her engagement post yesterday, that's all I've literally been able to think about. And because I have only one Swiftie friend who I can actually discuss this with, and she lives 3 hours away, I figured what better way to actually hype myself over it, because I have no one to talk to about this otherwise, than by recording a vlog with y'all. And I'll be reading and taking the time out to do so, but also by actually screaming about the fact that it's finally happening. Mother is getting everything she wanted, and so it's a crazy moment. That's what we're doing in today's vlog. And so I'm probably just gonna go get my timer queued up and we'll start. I don't really know which book I'm in the mood to read right now because I'm in the worst reading slump, so hopefully this will fix it. But yeah, I'll go see what I have on Kindle, what I have on audiobook, and maybe pick something up, and I'll catch up with you all in a little bit once I have more updates to give you. But basically, that's what we're doing in today's video. Honestly, just discuss with me in the comments because that's all I need right now, someone to talk to about this, because it's crazy. I'm so happy. I don't even know how to explain it, and I don't even know her in real life, but I'm still happy for my personal and close friend Taylor Swift. So here we are. I'm gonna go start reading now, and I'll catch up with y'all in a bit once I have some progress made on my books. Okay guys, so it's a little bit later and I've come in to update on my progress or whatever, but before anything I just wanted to say, tomorrow morning I'm actually leaving on like a quick fall getaway weekend trip. So like I kind of need to get this vlog done tonight. Clearly poor planning skills here, which means we're probably pulling an all-nighter of some sort to do this, because otherwise I don't see myself getting through this challenge. But right now I've managed to hit 11 hours and 53. Did I just cancel that? Did y'all? Oh my god, I just cancelled my timer. What the hell? Okay, no, I got it back. I didn't do anything, but basically I've hit 11 hours and 53 minutes left on the timer, so just under 12. I've been reading for like over an hour at this point. And basically what I wanted to say is that I started reading the, I guess, Amazon novellas on crime mystery. I don't really know how to describe it, but I believe it's called the Alibi series because it was sent my way and I've been meaning to get to it for so long, and there's 6 in it, and so far I've read a couple, and from what I can tell, basically these stories are about these people who are being almost like charged with murder or somewhat guilty for murder, but they have alibis, but something's happening anyway. It's best you go in with the least details if you want to read these, because they're like novellas. They get done in no time whatsoever, and so far it's keeping me on the edge of my seat. I'm having a good time. So if you want to read it, you definitely can. That's basically what I'm doing right now, and thank you Amazon Original Stories for sending the entire series my way. But basically I really wanted to get to them, and I've been saving them to get to right now in fall time. Even though it's technically the end of summer, in my head it's fall, and so I feel like it's perfect time to be reading these as well, because if you've ever watched like a crime show, staying up at like 1 in the morning getting cozy with like a candle in the background, this is the feeling it's giving me. And so it's a really good time so far, but they are like novellas and stuff, so there isn't like a lot of connect with what's going on. So I'm just gonna go continue reading, and I'll catch up with you all once I'm done with all 6 of them, and I'll just review them and give you my ratings in one go, because I feel like it doesn't really make sense to speak about them each individually and specifically, because otherwise I'd be spoiling plot points, since some of them are literally like only 40 pages long. You can finish them in like less than an hour. So here we are. I'm gonna go continue listening to what was sent my way, and I'll catch up with you all in a little bit. But that's basically what I'm doing right now. Maybe I'll start packing for tomorrow's trip because I haven't done that yet, and I'll catch up once I'm done with all of these books. So that's what we're doing right now, and see you all in a bit. Bye. Okay guys, so now we have just under 9 hours on the clock. I believe it's like 8:42 or something like that, and I've come into update because I have so many thoughts to give you at this point. I have gone ahead and finished yet another book, so it's time to, I guess, backtrack and speak about what we were kind of on the same tangent as last time. Basically, I've managed to finish all the little novellas in the Alibi series, really quick to get through. I feel like they were really fast paced and they held my attention, but also there were a couple little bit of like dud situations in there wherein they weren't the best. So it's kind of like a mixed review from my end, wherein I had a good time reading it. It definitely had my attention, but at the same time, a couple of them were so underdeveloped that the plotline, the story, it just made zero sense to me, and by the end I was still confused. So I'll have all my final ratings on screen for you for each of them, and I feel like it's still a good experience if you want to go ahead and read something, and if you feel like you're in a slump, this is definitely something that can hold your attention, and it gets by really fast. The only problem is I feel like there isn't much development in the sense of plot because they are novellas, and so don't expect a lot going in, but it's still a really good time if you want to pick it up regardless, and I'm happy I did. Apart from that, I managed to finish yet another book. I was in the middle of reading The Tenant by Freida McFadden for the past couple of weeks on Kindle. It's just I read it and then I put it down and I don't get back to it, and then out of nowhere I pick it back up and read it, and the cycle's been repeating over the past few weeks, over the past month, because I've had the worst reading slump ever. So after finishing these or whatever on audiobook, I was scrolling through Kindle trying to see would I have something I've already started in the middle that I can go ahead and pick up, because of my slump at the moment, I'm starting books, I'm getting to the 30% mark, and for some reason I'm putting them down. So I figured might as well just continue with this, because I was in a great mood after having read, I think it was called Death Row in the series or whatever by Freida, and I wanted another Freida one anyway, and so stars kind of aligned. This was perfect, and so I figured might as well continue reading. And now I don't think I was at 30%, I think I was more at the 70 odd percent mark. So I sped through this shit, I finished in no time, and so review time for The Tenant essentially, because now I'm done with this book as well. Basically, it follows Blake, who is living literally a perfect life, because he's got the perfect house, he's got the perfect job, he's got the perfect fiance, except one day all of this comes crashing down because he loses his job, and suddenly his life is not perfect anymore. It's a nightmare, because now he's not earning any money and he still needs to make the mortgage payments on the house or whatever, otherwise he'll get kicked out or something like that. And so he needs to figure out how he's gonna do that, how he's gonna make ends meet, because his fiance's job isn't very high paying either. And so if they want to live in that great amazing house, living the great amazing suburban lifestyle or whatever, they need the money for it, and they decide that instead of scrounging around, might as well hire a tenant in one of their rooms, because the house is huge, they've got an extra, and the extra cash could help them make ends meet. So enter Whitney. She is literally the perfect tenant. She's charming, she's sweet, she's funny, she's good looking, she's literally everything. Except there's something wrong with her, and Blake just cannot place his finger on it, because after she moves in, after they give her the room or whatever, there's weird things that start happening in his life wherein slowly it's starting to unravel. The neighbors, they're treating him horribly. The house, it's stinking for some reason, and it's the kind of smell wherein it's like something is decaying, but he doesn't really know what, because he's been cleaning like crazy and it's just there. And then there's like fruit flies and mosquitoes all over the place, and then not just that, people in his real life are disappearing. And the funniest part is he's actually got a deep dark secret that he's scared she knows and is using as blackmail over him. So suddenly she's not the perfect tenant anymore, she's someone he needs to remove from his life desperately, because if his secrets come to light, he could lose potentially everything he still has left, and he cannot risk that. So this for me was 4 stars, instantly, just gonna say it. After all the Freida disappointments I've had over the past few months or whatever, this was such like a refresher. It's truly reminded me why I love reading her books, because I sped through this. I was just clicking on my Kindle, so invested. I feel like the storyline was so fast paced, it got me so good. I had such a fun time reading. The plot twists were plot twisting, and it was a great time to read overall. I feel like I personally would recommend this definitely for fall, because it definitely just feels like something you'd read in the fall time, especially because of the cover and because of how, fall is meant for thriller time, and this is one of the best ones I've read recently. And so I'm happy I read it, I'm happy I finished it, because I locked in and I just didn't want to put it down, and that's a great sign, because in my slump right now, all I do is literally pick up my phone, which is why I've hardly read anything this month. So now that I'm actually catching up, it's feeling great, and maybe it helped me kind of pull myself out of the slump. I'm not really sure, but I'm happy I read it regardless. And this was the update for this book. I'm gonna go back to reading and I'll come update you all in a little bit once I have more progress in or whatever. But it is starting to get late and my eyes are starting to shut, so we'll have to see if I have to pause the timer for the night. I really don't want to. I want to keep going, but we'll see. And now I'm actually gonna go get to packing because I've done none of that. I was just busy procrastinating the evening away. So here we are, lots going on, but I'll update once I have the next book finished or whatever and how much is left on the timer. But that's where we're at right now. See you all in a bit. Bye. Okay guys, we just hit like 6 hours and 40 minutes left. It's nearly 4 in the morning. I'm supposed to be traveling tomorrow. Today, don't really know what I'm supposed to say. I feel like my brain is fried. I finished our next book, but I think I'm probably gonna go to bed now because I'm so tired. Genuinely cannot keep my eyes open. So here we are for a quick update. I've packed mostly everything up, which is why here we are with the odd angle as well. But basically I have gone ahead and finished my reread of Honey and Spice because I may have said it on the channel before, but I love this book so much, and there's like a second one coming out in the series. So now to kind of prepare for the read of the second one, to kind of establish my background facts again, I wanted to give this a reread and then go into that because it comes out next week. And so perfect timing, I just finished. We can kind of speak about it and then I'm going to bed because I'm so tired. But basically I also feel like this was the perfect book to pick up, at least in the moment right now, because I don't have to worry about paying too much attention to details that I probably missed, because I wanted to pick up the other fantasy book I was reading, but at the same time my eyes are literally closing. I don't think I have the brain power for that. And so this is perfect because essentially follows this girl called Kiki. She runs like the most popular show almost on campus or whatever. It's like this radio show, except one day on that specific show she's kind of giving advice to her fellow women on campus, and she tells them to stay away from this one man who she thinks is a player, except she ends up kissing him later, and so everyone thinks she was lying to get him all to herself. She actually does it out of instinct or whatever, as part of this like fake relationship almost, because she wants to get out of like another sticky situation, and now she's inserted herself into another problem. So here we are now, everyone's hating on her, except as she, comes to terms with that fact or whatever, she and the guy she ends up kissing, so his name is Malachi, they end up making this deal wherein why don't they pretend to fake date and come out with it or whatever and tell everyone they're actually a couple. But as they're doing all of that, they can kind of work against the hate almost, but at the same time she can get help boosting ratings on her show because she needs that for like a college application, and she can have like a whole segment on love and how the two of them fell for each other or whatever, and it was unintentional, not because of the whole podcast thing. And he's recording a movie, she could help him out in it and he could win the competition he's been enlisted for or whatever. And so it goes from there. They start faking their relationship, people start absolutely loving the narrative that is being put out, so they don't hate them anymore, and now they're starting to tune in, add all this public pressure to the fact that everyone's rooting for these two. And as all of that's happening, these two are being thrown into more situations where they have to pretend to fake date, but because of the forced proximity they're falling for each other, and it's the sweetest thing ever. So here we have like two classic examples of people who did not expect to fall in love, but they have it regardless. And the way it's carried out, I feel like this book has everything. It's got love, it's got friendship, it's got drama, and it's got so many sweet, heartfelt, wholesome, tender moments. There's this one bit wherein she has like her favorite series, like a book series or whatever, and she's telling him about it, and then one day out of nowhere he phones her in the nighttime and he asks her a question related to it, and she goes, wait a second, that's in my favorite book series and that's in the second book. And without even letting her know, he went ahead and read her favorite series for her, and then he took her to an event for that series and cosplayed with her. I'm sorry, that is like my perfect definition of a book boyfriend. So here we are. I had the best time rereading. I feel like he's truly one of the best book boyfriends out there. He melts my heart every single time, and she's such like an iconic queen. I love her personality, I love the way she talks, I love the humor that is added to the book in this like almost unapologetic way that she speaks in. So I had a great time rereading. I'm so happy I did, and I cannot wait to get into the next one because I do believe they will break up, which is sad, but also it's a second chance, and those are my favorite kind of romances ever. So when it comes out next week, you best believe I'm gonna run and get myself a copy on day one itself and binge it. So that's what I'm planning on doing. But this one was 4.5 stars. So happy I read it, so happy I got all the heart melting but also hilarious moments from this, and this was truly one of the best books ever. So I feel like now that my reread's done, I can probably just go to bed and then I'll see you all maybe in the morning. I'll try and continue to read actually right now if I can. And if I make some of the way through, whatever, but I'll see you all in the morning regardless if I do end up finishing a book, and we'll discuss it. We'll see what goes from there. But that's basically the update for right now. My brain is malfunctioning. I don't really know what I'm saying, so I'm just gonna go now. Bye. Hi guys, it's been exactly 1 month since my last update to you, right down to the very day, and I wish I could come up with excuses as to why it's taking so long to complete the video, but I just don't have any. Because since the last time I came in and spoke, I ended up going on vacation. It was a little too, chaotic in the morning, too hectic to come in and give you like an update on what I continued reading for the night and then went to bed for, and then what I was planning on reading on the ride there. And then, once I got to my spot or whatever, to the vacation place, I just didn't want to continue recording there because I wanted to live in the moment, had the best time ever, came back, started recording a different video, and in the midst of everything I kind of forgot about this vlog until right just this moment, because I do need to be posting this week, and this week's video that was originally supposed to be out isn't ready yet, so that means this video is going to go out. It's not going to be an unfinished draft, which is why here we are. I'm coming in to give you like a few final updates on the books I ended up reading, and I've gone ahead and worn the same t-shirt, the same outfit as that day for more cohesiveness, in case you're wondering. So it is 1 month later, but I'm going to try to pretend it's not, which is why here we are. Let's not talk about it, let's just jump into the books. I did continue this fantasy book I was in the middle of at that point. I believe I had only some progress made in, and while I can't tell you exacts in terms of time and how much length I'd already got through, I read like a chapter or two before bed, to the point where my brain was actually so fried that I couldn't focus on anything. Woke up early the next morning, continued reading all the way on the ride to the train station and then on my commute over, and I finished the book out over there. My timer was going on in the background and it kept going until I was reading or whatever. So the book I ended up finishing next in the video is called Daughter of No Worlds. It's the first in a fantasy world, and at this point I have gone ahead and finished the second book in that series as well. So I'm coming in to kind of update to say that while my original update I feel like would have been that I didn't really enjoy this book very much, having read the second book now, huge fan of the series, can't wait to jump into the next one, even though it's 700 pages long, which is why here we are. But for like a quick preface and a summary, because that's probably what you care about before I jump into my thoughts. Essentially, this book follows a former slave called Tisana. When she was a slave, she would actually spend her nights using the little bit of magic powers she had or whatever to kind of bargain her way to freedom, and the night she buys it goes horribly wrong. So she ends up escaping to this other continent called Ara, I believe, and then there's this organization there called the Orders, and essentially now she wants to enlist in their program to kind of help them achieve their goals, but also then take their help to achieve her goals, because when she escaped, she actually left a friend behind and she wants to go back for that friend who could be facing severe repercussions for helping her leave. So this needs to be all hush hush quick. She enlists herself the moment she can, and to kind of become a part of the Orders, there's this compulsory apprenticeship that she needs to enlist herself in, which involves her kind of working under a reclusive former Orders member, whatever. He was a magic wielder back in the day, but now he's just retired and he hates everyone and hates everything. That's Max. So essentially now she's kind of working under him, kind of trying to figure out what the Orders might need in terms of their magical requirements or whatever. But as all of this is happening, as she's trying to meet all the goals, she's starting to understand that maybe all the deals she made with them were cryptic and vague, because now looking into it, they have kind of got her in several loopholes. It's almost like they're scamming her in a way, but she can't really get out of it because she's given her life toward it or whatever, and she also needs to bring her best friend back. And so in the midst of everything, the Orders is turning out to not be the great organization that she thought it was, and then there's a war coming up that now she has to fight, and no matter what, if she wants to see that best friend again. And then apart from everything else, she's also falling for Max, the one she's doing her apprenticeship with. So lots of confusing things going on basically, and this I feel like was a great stepping stone into the first book in a fantasy trilogy, so it's definitely interesting. But if you want to read it, pick it up immediately, because this is perfect autumn fall vibes. It also gave me cozy fantasy at some bits only some bit specifically when she was doing the apprenticeship with Max, because it kind of reminded me of Howl's Moving Castle, one of my favorite series ever. So it was a good read, but I feel like personally in this book specifically, I don't know why, I am of the mixed opinion wherein in this book it feels like not a lot happened, but when I read the second book, I really had a good time even though not much happened in that. So I don't know how to really articulate my thoughts about it, because people online love this one but hate the second one because they say nothing happened in that. But I like this and I love that one because that one truly was so amazing, so good. Can't wait to get to the third. It's just this, I feel like it was a little too long and it did drag out at some bits, but I had a good time reading regardless. I feel like this book was just so pure, their love was so sweet, and then everything else going on in the background, especially the last like cliffhanger on the last page. I wish I was joking, I wish I recorded my reaction as I was reading on the train. Audible gasp, alright? As soon as I finished the book, I just looked up straight and I'm just like processing and reeling from what I just read. People around me looking at me wondering why the hell I'm freaking the shit out. I couldn't hold it in, honestly. So it was a good experience overall. It's just, it was a little slow at some bits wherein I felt like I was losing my attention or whatever. So here we are. If you want my thoughts on the second book, I think you'll have to watch next week's video because it'll be out in that, and then, you know, we'll continue the series as we go along with it. But so far this was really good, and having read the second book now, I definitely recommend this series and y'all should definitely pick it up if you can this fall. This one I'm going to give it 3.5 stars because again, it wasn't the best book ever, but then the last page cliffhanger plot twist definitely made up for it, and it was a good time overall, and I had a fun time reading because I'm trying to get into fantasy this season. And listen, this was good enough that, listen, maybe fantasy is going to be my new favorite genre, we'll have to see, but so far so good. And moving on to the next book. Now, I don't really know how much time I had left on the clock at that point because my memory is just simply not that great, but I ended up picking out continuing to read a second chance romance at this point because I did read a fantasy at that point very early in the morning, and my brain was already starting to feel fried with the commute and the fantasy book and everything else weighing down on it, so I wanted something light and fluffy. And since I was in a horrible reading slump at that point, I still am, but it's not as bad as that specific moment. I had started like a bunch of books that I didn't end up getting through with finishing or whatever, and this was one of them. It's the second one in the Spoons trilogy or series or whatever. I don't really know if it's a trilogy. I think it's gonna be more books, but basically the first one I read it earlier this year for book club. I believe it was called Savor It, and this one it's called Left of Forever. It is a second chance romance, which is supposed to be my favorite trope, but it didn't hit. So now for summary time, basically it follows this one couple, Ren and Ellis. Back in the day, back when they were kids, they fell in love, they had a son themselves, they were literally perfect for each other until they were not, because then their relationship fell out to the wolves or whatever. They broke apart and they couldn't handle it anymore. So now fast forward to years later when they're both in their 30s living their adult lives. There's this moment wherein she's working in a bakery and he's working as a firefighter, and she kind of starts mailing off letters to this firefighter at the beginning of the book to kind of figure out what's really going on with the fire situation, if a pair of horses are alive. She doesn't know it's him, she just thought it was any fire guy in the department or whatever, and so already you start to see connect being established. Now fast forward a few months later, their son, the one they had together when they were younger or whatever, he's now going off to college. So keep in mind the letters background because they already kind of like each other and you can kind of see it, but she doesn't know it was him she was writing to. And now that their son is going off to college or whatever, he realizes he's still in love with her and he needs to do something drastic or whatever because he just cannot move on. It's been years, he's just stuck there. He's still at the restaurant. I'm sorry if you're not a Swiftie, you won't get that, but basically he just wants her back and he's gonna do anything to get her. So he ends up proposing the idea for them kind of taking this like road trip after they go drop him off at college with all his things, help him move in, because they want to give it one last shot to see if they could have like a chance at a relationship, but they also don't want to hurt any of their friends and family and their tight-knit community because it is a small town. So they end up keeping it kind of secretive, just saying it's like a friends sort of occasion, like a retreat, even though literally everyone knows, and they end up going on that trip together. Except, you know, now as past feelings start to emerge, they're falling for each other again, except in the midst of everything else, she still doesn't know it was him she was writing to, so there's secret identity there. And then not just that, they had issues in their relationship in the beginning beginning in the past or whatever. So how do you know that won't come up again, and how do you know that won't affect them if they start things up again? And also they have again like a son and everything else to contend with, so they have like adult lives and adult problems, and it's just not a silly case of miscommunication, which is why here we are. It definitely was adult and messy and real, and I enjoyed those aspects. But the whole falling back in love, I'm sorry, I didn't see it. The first book, when I read Savor It, I was so excited to find out that they're gonna get a book, and so I was so happy and excited that I'd get the chance to read it or whatever when it came out. But personally, this was such a flop for me because number one, tell me why this book cover, it kind of gives fall, and then it was just like a summer road trip. So already I wasn't enjoying it, because back again like a month ago I was in my fall mindset, still am, but this truly just didn't hit. And then not just that, like I said, the love bits, I feel like it was just told to you that they're falling back in love. Actually seeing them fall back in love, sorry, I didn't see it. There were a couple sweet moments here and there. She let him read her journal. They're kind of opening up again to each other, but still for some reason something about this book didn't hit. I'm gonna have to blame it on my slump, because a lot of people online I've been seeing, they're loving it. It's just for me personally, it wasn't it. So again, I don't know what it is with these bad reads. I don't know why it's putting me off, but after I finish this book or whatever, I wasn't able to read like another book for again a few days at a time. So again, the slump, it's really hurting me at this point. Only read a few books this month, not as many as I normally would read, so it is scary, but we shall see. But regardless, this is what I ended up reading, and I gave it like 2 stars unfortunately. So I was excited, but now this kind of let me down, and I will probably continue the series, but I don't really have like high hopes and expectations for it, because the first book, it was alright. This one, it truly just wasn't it for me. And if the next one's gonna be bad, at least in my opinion, I don't think I'll read anything again by this author. So we'll have to see how things go. But basically those are my updates. As I was reading it, I feel like I had only like the epilogue or something like that left, and my timer, it was about to go off. And keep in mind, I was on like a public train. I didn't want people staring at me as that happened, so 1 minute before it went off, I actually paused it, and I was gonna go wait when I reached or whatever, and then resume the timer so you could actually see it go off in real time. But then I forgot about it completely, switched it off, switched it back on when I came back home and recorded that, which is why here we are. That's the reason the whole timer issue came up. But regardless, there was 1 minute left on the clock while I was still reading, and since I was doing literally nothing else on the train, I ended up finishing it out anyway. It was just the epilogue that was left, and it was alright. That's all I'm gonna say. Not my favorite second chance ever, but maybe second chances aren't hitting anymore the same way, so we'll have to see how that goes. But basically, that was the last book we read for this video. We have now reached the end of this vlog. I know it's been a long time coming, because frankly, it's been so long now that already Taylor Swift, her new album comes out in 5 days. I'm sorry, I'm so excited, but also I'm in my tortured poets department era, so still stuck, but here we are. I can't believe time is flying so fast, because I literally remember sitting down and it was like 1 week before TTPD was coming out, and now it's 1 week before The Life of a Showgirl is coming out, and she's gotten engaged like a month ago, and time's just like a weird concept. So here we are. Regardless, we did end up finishing reading for 13 hours and got through quite a few books in that time span, and so we've reached the end of this vlog basically. Sorry it took so long to record and edit and post and whatever went into it, but regardless, I hope you did enjoy coming along with me for this long, not so wild journey. But regardless, like, comment, share, subscribe if you did. Stay tuned for next week's video, because hopefully it'll be better than this one. And you know, until then, I'm just gonna go continue reading the books for next week's, because it was technically supposed to be this one's, but I just haven't finished it, so we'll have to go see what I do about that. But regardless, I will see you all hopefully very soon next week, and until then, take care, stay safe. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you very soon. But that's it. I'm gonna see you all. Bye.